What's going on, everyone? So just today, or at least the date of today, they've released a new version of the Star Trek, or at least progressed the Star Trek. As you can see in the bottom, we have now entered the time in which Battle Mining Area has been activated. And I wanted to go through a couple of changes because this is actually extremely important. This is going to be the vast majority of the rest of your time in the Star Trek, and it really helps out even like someone like myself who, while I do have a decent amount of time to play the game, I'm kind of locked out of certain things because of the dormant period and the inability to sit down and really invest 30 minutes just going through the mining attacks and trying to figure out the targets that I can actually hit. And that's really going to help you out with some extra rewards. So I'm going to dive in, kind of explain a little bit, go over some of the shops as well, kind of some updates on this game mode as it happened. So if we dive in here into the alien minefield, you're going to notice that, well, I'm actually in the tier 3 area now. And that's because the kind of entire game mode has shifted. Before, when we were talking about this, when you were to go into, let's say, a tier, and you were to look at the different zones, each one of these zones was guarded by a specific guild. And that guild basically controlled the area, okay? And it was really, really tough to actually get in some combats in a lot of cases if you're just a solo player. Yes, if you are a perfectly optimized player and you were playing every day and getting access to all the rewards and you were a free-to-play player, you could definitely attack some of the higher tier options. But in general, if you weren't spending money and you weren't able to play completely optimized, you had a lot of trouble attacking targets and actually just even getting your battles in, which was really unfortunate because you just missed out on some weekly quests and some other free resources that you could have obtained. Now, with the change, a lot of the top players have moved on into what I'll call, I guess, the second zone. This let me just move on over to the mining screen here. This lava secret realm. So a lot of the best guilds have moved on, which means there's a lot more space in this initial area. And this initial area has shifted into from a guild focused game mode to a individual focused game mode. So now if I jump into tier 3, you'll notice that basically all of these little mines are occupied right now. And it's not like all of us share the same guild. You're just able to occupy the mines and defend it as an individual rather than a group, which is really nice because this is going to be very, very likely for you to just get a little bit of extra value, a little bit of kyanite, a little bit of those resources that you were previously maybe not able to obtain as much of, which is really, really cool. Not only that, but also this is the time to go ahead and use all those quick mining options for you if you happen to have any. Jump into a tier 3 mine, which you otherwise would not be able to, like I said, because your guild may not be as powerful or you weren't really focused in the group content. Not only this, but now you can individually attack each one of these little mines. If I go and click on one, I can hit occupy. And as you can see, I've occupied a level 5 mine as well. If I defeat the opponent, I'll swap. Now, for all purposes intended here, this doesn't change anything for the opponent. Like, for example, this guy right here has got 1.75 million combat power. I'm just going to go battle him. Great. And we're going to just swap places in the level 5 mine. I'm going to win this battle. Perfect. I get my rewards guaranteed because I'm fighting someone significantly lower combat power. They don't get hurt and I don't get hurt. I just swap to this level 5 mine now and they swap to my level 5 mine. And guess what? I can just battle them again and just swap back and forth, which is awesome because now, instead of trying to look around for the specific garrison that I can fight and then have to battle through multiple guild members that are oftentimes stronger, and I have to go into the lesser, powerful tiered mines, now I can just load up, go to the bottom of this, find whatever player that, had that lower combat power and just go to town. Now, I know this does still require a little bit of time to look around. Okay, which one can I battle? How much combat power do I have, etc. Have I been completely optimized? Like I said, have not. So that definitely will help you. But you should be able to find someone that you can battle. And if you have to go down into the tiers, that's totally fine, as you should be able to find someone that you can use your actions on. And that's really all that's important. There's also no dormant period as far as I can see. I can vote for whatever, but we don't see that there's a dormant period for this section. And as far as I could tell from the previous timeline and changes from this battle mining area that's been active, well, the Zone 1 little garrisons no longer provide that area of protection, and there's no dormant period. Now, Zone 2 is a little bit different as far as I understand. I'm not even going to dive into that because that's for, obviously the much, much higher level players. But for Zone 1 and for any individual out there that's looking to play, maybe doesn't have a big group behind them, you are now able to enter into those higher tiers, get the regular collectible rewards that is higher tier, and actually utilize the 3 attacks that you may otherwise, could not. And you can see here, I haven't even been able to do it. I haven't even completed the initial season quests, really, because I just haven't had time to sit down and go through all the different garrisons and try to find the one that I can battle. What this also means, and this is the more important one, is that these weekly quests now are something that I can go through and complete. The Astral Mind Plunder, usage. Again, it takes so much less time to go back out of the menu, go into a different mine area, search around, back out, go into a different mine area, search around. I just didn't have the time to do it. This is so much easier. Like it changed, maybe a 15 to 20 minute looking process for even just one battle. And if I failed it, let's say, I'm suddenly locked out for a very long time I can just pop around and look at every individual because everyone's kind of stacked in the same map and each one is individually blocked. So it's so much easier. And now I can pick up my regular weekly quests, my seasonal quests, and get the higher tier mining. So if you haven't paid attention to this because you're like, oh, I don't have the time to do that, or I can't do it, or I don't have enough combat power to do it, give it a try. Because even that player, as you saw, had like 1 million combat power, which I'm not saying 4 million of mine is like incredibly high or anything, but 1 million, which is definitely on the lower end for someone who's been playing regularly. Well, they're able to get to the tier 3, utilize everything that I just mentioned, and stick around because guess what? We're just battling amongst each other and we're just swapping between the 2 stations, which is perfect. Everyone wins, right? That's what we want for a casual experience. A little note here as well. All of that's still the case. If you are looking to potentially just acquire a little bit more resources, you do want to put a little bit more effort into this shop for your progression within this season. We still have, 30 or so days in this season. So it will definitely behoove you to invest some of these resources, especially the quartzite and some of the kyanite in some of these areas. Officer medals, sergeant medals, the armor chips, all of which definitely are worthwhile purchase. The kyanite and the purple crystal also, in my opinion, are worth it. And then after that, you can pick up the armament cores. I've been focusing on the other resources outside of that because I think armament cores, while they are good, they're very expensive and they are RNG based. So pick up the officer medals, pick up the sergeant medals, definitely pick up the armor chips. You will get, locked out relatively quickly, or that will be your bottleneck relatively quickly, I should say, versus, the actual upgrades within this. As you can see, I'm still missing about 4,000 in the armor chips. And I'm relatively close to, maxing this out. So focus on this. It's very PvP focused. PvP has gotten a lot more valuable because even all these rewards are stacking up. All your normal rewards from the Holy Grail, the martial arts tournament, the arena battles, all of them have been stacking. But if you're not a PvP fan, this small change definitely helps you out with your daily grind and also just gives you access to more resources, which is a win-win in my book. So happy that this change has happened. Again, it was expected change. It was just not something that we had access to, or at least if you're in my timeline for servers, I didn't have access to. So I wanted to give you all an update in case you gave up on it like I was starting to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one.